coming back and I keep on resisting it. I think it's because I really want to make a distinction between this performance and the workshop as a class, but not to distance them, not to divorce them, but to distance them. And I think it has to do with administration. I think it has to do with precisely what you say about transactions of knowledge. The workshop to me is like asking people to try something to expand their knowledge of touch and feeling. And the performance that is that as well, but I want it to be different, done differently, because I want it to have a multifaceted method.
Sure.
Want a time that we just read?
I don't know. That's basically my question.
Okay.
If you feel that like
no, I think it's a great idea.
Dedicated reading time is useful, or
maybe that's like we have a conversation, we do the practice, we have some reading time, we have a conversation. Could be the new.
Could be. I don't know if it's right.
Or we do it in the doing of the whole thing, but we just
that was my sense.
We just frame it now that like. That time is not made for trying to understand what the performance of this thing will be on Tuesday, say, but rather like research time.
But there's a very different. It's also just that reading aloud to someone. I guess you can read aloud to yourself.
I read aloud to myself.
Has a different effect. I think of like
me too.
Of holding information. Like I think you take on information differently if you sound it and
embody it.
Sure, yeah.
I think in the most practical sense to really use it as reading time, but also as, like Ellen says, research time for this thing.
Yeah.
And I think if noisification is a value, we should all read aloud at the same time. And then
that's cool.
Ben and Gabby walk around and go too loud, too quiet. Like you know, like there should be like multiple levels of productivity within the time used reading the books. So it's like it's like we're actually using it for the piece.
Yeah. And it's not like we have time to.
It's not like reading time is going to the bathroom and sitting in the sitting on the toilet and reading. It's like it's in this space, reading aloud, with the right light levels.
Yeah,
with the right vibe. So it's like being in the show.
There is something nice too about like having making a choice about what you want to offer in the noise. Even I haven't read any of those books, but when you brought them out,
you read the ending, right?
Yeah, I was reading it, and then when I read To the Ball, I went straight for that because I saw things in there that were really beautiful. So, yeah, it's nice to have.
It's helpful. What I'm hearing is that it's helpful to know the content that you are submitting into noise, because it gives you agency to what you're doing, rather than just picking up a random book and reading whatever. There's no agency there. There's no choice. That's just.
So I would say unless the randomization is what we're doing, so that's
no,
what
it is not. I can now answer that question after this comment. It is definitely not about that kind of randomization, because in fact, when we look to the sales text about noisification, it's never his idea of communication is never random.
No, it's always
we are trying to speak, but it's always failing into noise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love you guys to know what you're doing.
Reading
so you should bring your own. Maybe you should bring your own books if you're going to read a book. Also, maybe there's other speech acts other than book reading, which is like we talked about positive affirmations of life. Like, you're doing great. This is wonderful. You look wonderful. I love you so much.
Whoa, ASMR.
Yeah.
A big room.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. In all the ways. You are beautiful. You are peaceful.
ASMR isn't like you're wonderful. Isn't it like the ingredients list of like the cookies that you're eating?
It's also positive affirmation.
Is it positive affirmation? I haven't gone.